Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Arkham Podcast with me and Daniel from Quick Learner. Today, we're going to be talking primarily about Arkham Con, which just wrapped up. It was, the weekend of the September 13th? Was that when it was happening? And it was, from what I hear, a great time. I was planning on attending, but due to some issues, just Canada, US stuff is really shaky still, so it just feels weird for me to go down to the US. I had to unfortunately give up my ticket, but it meant that someone else got to go in my stead, which is really awesome for them. But from what I've heard and from what I've seen, this was a really fun time. And I know you have some videos on your own channel talking about it, but I also just wanted to hear from you in this video about what it was like and basically what I missed. So, how was it? Was it a grand old time, or did you actually secretly hate it? And I'm going to get an inside scoop right now.
Oh yeah, public video and tell everyone how bad it was. No, I was really impressed with the Arkham Con team for this whole idea kind of existed the previous couple years with the Mythosbusters folks. That podcast kind of made the whole thing happen. And then they said, this was too much. It's too hard for the four of them to work on it. So a whole bunch of regular old fans got together and said, we can't let this idea just disappear, because it's been so good and so fun in the past. And holy cow, I mean, it's a larger number of people, and sometimes you say too many cooks in the kitchen. No, it went very, very well. Probably the most smooth I've seen a con run. I mean, of this size, it was bigger than the last two, and they did such a great job adding lots of cool special touches here and there. So it was great. Everything was just handled so well and went smoothly. And if you like playing Arkham Horror the card game and you want to do that for 4 days straight, this is this place to do it. It was really a lot of people I talked to afterwards said, man, am I gonna be burned out after this? And a lot of them said, you know what, I'm just even more excited about the game because I got to play with so many like-minded individuals. And everyone has their own play styles and everything, but we just love the game. So it's fun to sit down and just play the game with people.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's very unfortunate that Arkham doesn't have this available easily all the time, right? Because, you look at Magic the Gathering, or, Flesh and Blood, and in some places, if you're lucky, Star Wars Unlimited, where, there's events that happen every week. There's card shops near me that have Magic the Gathering every Fridays, and then, Commander on Sundays. So you can, if you're interested in playing the game, you can just go and play the game with people and enjoy talking about that game with other people. With Arkham, because it's a cooperative game and it's much more board game format, it's one of those things where you don't really have that available to you. So being able to experience that in an Arkham Con setting where you just get to go and talk about the game, play the game, just breathe, live and breathe the game for 4 days with other people who love the game like you do, has got to just be an eye-opening experience to be wow, that's just incredible to go through that.
It's funny because I have you to talk to. I've got other content creators, and it's good. I really like that, having that all year round, but being in a room where everyone is, different play styles, different levels of play too, but everyone just wants to play the game and talk about the game and do other events that are kind of related to the game too. We'll talk about a few of those in a second. It's just great to get that variety. And of course, people recognize me, so that is also kind of fun. But it's a small enough community where it's not super weird. One person did come up to me and they had a copy of Quick Learner, the card that they wanted me to sign.
Oh,
which
hell
I thought
yeah,
was
let's
really
go.
funny.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there were other people who were signing things. We played Beard's standalone scenario that he came up with, the epic multiplayer one, and I had him sign the booklet because I felt he contributed quite a bit for the con. So the designers were there and they signed things too. So it wasn't just a weird thing that happened, but rather we were all in the signing mood.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that's I imagine that's still, even though it's because you've said it happened before, when you were at Board Game Con or something, someone recognized you there.
Yep.
But I imagine even then it's got to be surreal, right? Because in your perspective, you're just a guy playing Arkham. but like in their perspective, it's like, hey, you're that content creator I watch. Like I kind of just like know you in some aspect.
Yeah, I joke that if you ever go to one of these things, you're going to need a team of bodyguards.
Yes,
So,
I remember that, I mean that's also kind of like why because I do patron game days through our Patreon, so like I've experienced playing Arkham with a lot of people, and it's always fun. Like at this point now, most of the patrons I've played with, I've been actually playing with for the last like 2 years, because it turns out the players who like patron game days like to stay playing patron game days. But it's always fun when like new players join in on the patron game day mix, and it's really fun to play with other people, and that's kind of like the reason why I wanted to go, and also to like see some people in real life, not just you in this tiny 16 by 9 square I have on my monitor right now. So that's like part of the reason why Mike and I are talking about running a very small one in comparison to, because Arkham Con used to, like, how many people do you think were there for Arkham Con?
uh, I mean, it was over 100. It was probably like 120 to 140 at the
Yeah.
most, something like that.
Yeah, because like we wanted, like, where our goal is like a much smaller thing. There's some cons here that happen and they get like 30 to 40 people in like small things. So like that's kind of like our hope to start, because I just want to like talk with people and play games with people in real life, because it's a fun game, and playing it with other people is just really exciting. And standalone, I always jokingly tell
Yeah.
this to Travis and Bryn, that like standalone gameplay and like patron game day gameplay is like vacation Arkham, where you don't have to take anything seriously and you can just like try stuff out and have fun. And that's why I like building standalone decks, and you just gotta like throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. And what, because you said you did the Iron Man, which we'll dive into in a bit, but you also did some standalone gameplays as well, right?
Yeah. Okay. You've just like brought up three things that I want to hit on. Maybe we'll go back to one of them. But let me just answer your what
Sure.
you're hitting on right now. So yeah, we played. I think it was at least two. Maybe it was just two massive multiplayer or epic multiplayer. So that's where the entire con is playing the same scenario at the same time, right? One of them was Blob,
Yep.
and then the other one was the thing that Beard came up with, which is When the World Screamed, I believe, is what it's called. And those are interesting because I mean, we've done them before with your channel too, but where everyone in the room is playing the same scenario, and it's pretty chill because the stakes are pretty low, right?
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen. You'll probably win. Some people die, whatever, right? But it's this whole experience of playing across the whole room, which is interesting. Um, the scenarios are always a little bit awkward, right? And this happens even at the smaller scale of like 3 or 4 tables too, where someone's playing faster than another
Yeah.
group, and you kind of have to wait and all of that, just so you don't doom out. I mean, but this to me is about the experience of playing rather than some kind of serious like I'm playing these decks for us to win and be like really good or have this like campaign like experience. It's really not that. Like I don't think these scenarios are so finely tuned such that you get that. It's more about wouldn't it be fun if you could, do something on your table that affects that other table over there? Because that's a cool idea. And that's basically it. It's like highlighting the co-op nature of the game rather than anything else. So
Yeah.
I don't mind that sometimes you're just like the optimal thing to do is not doom out,
Yep.
because that's not why you're there. You're there because this is a fun experience. Then there's the just standalones that are a regular old scenario that you play with just the group that you're sitting with, right? And that's more like when we've done patron game days where you're playing the scenario's over, okay. And that's more like playing a campaign. I think you bring your deck, you have a fun time playing the deck, but it doesn't have this other baggage of multiple tables. In the middle, there's a few of the like 3 or 4 or 5 table games, right? There's Midwinter Gala that has some interaction. There's Labyrinths of Lunacy, which I didn't play this year, but I've played the last 2 cons because I was like, this is the one time I will play Labyrinths
Yeah.
of Lunacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the Machinations Across Time is like that too, where there's a little bit of interaction, but you're not going to play those, right? Those kinds of things outside of these environments. So you you get the cool experience of doing it. I mean, there's not much more to say about that. That's why you're doing it. You're not trying to do anything more, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so on the first day, you sent me a photo, and I think I got this one here of the Arkham
Yeah.
bingo sheet.
Yeah.
This was just something they just handed out, like when you got there, and it was like this is gonna go over the whole weekend.
Yeah. So they gave us a swag bag, it was a yellow bag because,
Yeah.
it was the con in yellow. And there was a bunch of stuff in it. This was one of the things that I was surprised to see, and I was like, "That's super cool." Another thing that we got was like a dance card, so you could write down every game that you played and who you played with, so you can remember and maybe contact people later in case
Nice.
you forgot a card or something and they picked it up, or you just want to chat with them again because they were cool. But I think this bingo card thing was super, super funny. What did you think when you saw it?
I will. So because I'm before I was working for YouTube full time and like doing YouTube stuff, I was first AD, which is like on a film set. They just make sure everything runs smooth, and stuff like this. It makes that part of my brain kind of just like click, where I'm like that planner brain, where I'm like, this is such a great idea because it immediately unifies everybody at the con, right? Where they can just immediately get the like, this is something that we're all like working towards, even just beyond all this. So I thought it was just a very fun, clever idea to immediately get everybody like into this mindset right away, and like something that you can even just start talking about. Like if you just haven't like you haven't seen someone like go up to them for the first time, you're sitting at the table, some people might be a little bit like shy or uncomfortable. You can be like, how's your bingo card doing? Like that's just such an easy like icebreaker to have some communication happen between other people. But beyond that, it's just like really fun. It's like you get there, you see it, and it's the anticipation of the weekend, right? All the stuff that can happen while playing Arkham, and it's just like I'm gonna be doing this for like 3 or 4 days, and that's pretty hype. And this is kind of like the appetizer to the whole event. And I think it was very smart to do, and it's very easy to do, right? Like it's very easy to plan. But I think it was actually just kind of like just some genius planning from the con team to do this.
And there's several of these, right? It wasn't just this version, so I don't know what all the different possibilities were, because I didn't, get them all on this particular bingo sheet. But yeah, throughout the whole weekend, people were, yelling bingo, and then that was also a thing for people who were playing a game to look over and, give them a hand for getting their bingo card filled out. I think it was just like a line across. You didn't have to do a blackout.
Yeah.
But also, there were some people who were on purpose doing something a little weird just to fill out their bingo card.
Yes, yeah.
Which is very clever for a theme of Path to Carcosa, where you have hidden cards and you do some weird things in that campaign. Well, choosing to end the scenario without defeating the boss, or placing Doom on the agenda by choice, that kind of thing might be getting you towards your bingo prize. So
yeah. Did you get a bingo?
I didn't fill it out. I thought I was just going to bring this home as a memento. I feel
Yeah.
like I should have done it. I know, but
No, there's not. It's that's the thing. They give you the choice. You could do whatever you want with your own bingo sheet. But no, that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also felt like I didn't need to, like there was a prize table. I also got a prize myself for a different reason. I don't need to. People gave me things too. Like I don't need to pick up all the prizes for other people.
Yeah, I think that's very fair, and I'm kind of I get that completely. Like we kind of already have a prize. We're like creating content for Arkham, right? Like we're very lucky to be in this. I get that completely. I'd kind of be the same way, or I'd go try hard and like just like people would be like, man, that Justin guy's kind of an asshole, huh?
The other thing I love about this, and maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but again, this is a small community. But the people who are involved really know what they're doing. Like you and I, we have our own little corners of the community too. But the people who are making this, they are just as much of a fan as we are. So the kinds of things on this bingo card are smart, right? These are things that happen to players who've played the game for years. And if we had come up with our own bingo cards, we probably would have come up with a lot of these things too. But it felt really good at the beginning of the con, and I already knew this about the team being very, very with it. But it's cool because you're like, yeah, I know exactly what people are talking about when they have fighter can't find their weapons on the
Yeah.
bingo card. Like, yeah, this is exactly what happens when you play this game enough, and it feels like you're in the right community. These are your people because they also have the same experiences
Yeah.
that you do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like I like some of the ones like the "we will win this turn unless something goes wrong." I say that quite often, right? And I'm sure a lot of other people do, obviously, because it's on the thing, right?
Yep.
The search toss 6+ cards completely whiffs. There's a lot of good, great stuff here, and it's actually funny. So there's a in the Elden Ring community, they do bingo races, right? Where it's like races to get bingo, with like a randomized board with like various things like defeat this boss with this weapon, that kind of stuff, right? And I've been actually wanting to do that in Arkham, in like in some sort of like competitive sense to try to figure out like two teams racing in a standalone to like get a bingo. And I think that this is a kind of refilled the inspiration to kind of pursue that idea, because I think that's just like a fun form of content for people to potentially consume.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really want to see the other ones just to see what I was missing,
Yeah,
but I think they're all winners here. So
yeah, no, this was really cool. All right, and then I remember you also messaged me about this after it happened, but there was an Arkham trivia contest that happened, and not to toot your own horn, but you and Beard won it, right?
it was a group of four of us. So
Okay.
I want to give credit to the other two people on the team too. We all got our prizes, but uh, we talked about it before, like, hey, want to jump in our team, and we did. And the kinds of questions were, I don't want to go over the questions themselves for, future proofing, but there's a lot of lore stuff that Beard knows just like that, which is really impressive to me. I know a lot of other things about the game, but that's not one of them. And it's stuff that's on the cards, right? These were always questions that were like on the back of a card, so like the backstory of investigators. And I know enough of those, but I don't know some of the specifics that the uh, number one Nick is the one who wrote the questions, by the way. So our own from
Yeah, I
the
think I
Discord
actually
as
here
well.
one second. I actually think he shared them.
Yeah, he's
And
got a Google form up already.
yeah, I want to go. Maybe I can pull it up and we can at least see the first one, because I did want to do some form of content with that on the channel. Even though I don't know if I could. I don't know. The thing about trivia is that it's always better if you have a team of people who can. I'm sure you've been saying can shore up weaknesses. Sorry, I'm just gonna hide you for a second too while this is happening, because I don't want you to. I don't want to show anything that I shouldn't. But like, you don't want to like, you have like a team of people who have like can cover up weaknesses, like you're just saying with Beard, knowing all the lore and stuff, and then like the card interactions and like the weird rules that come with it, right? There
Yeah,
we go.
it's also just fun to talk about these things in the if you've ever done a pub trivia type of quiz, right? You go and you get a few minutes to talk about the questions, and you're like, oh, I think it was this. Or one of our players, who wasn't me or Beard, said, there was a question that I'm not going to say what it was, but he's like, I just know this answer because we just played this particular campaign, and my girlfriend pointed out this card,
Oh,
and we
that's
kept using
cool.
this card, and I remember exactly what this is. And I was
Yeah,
like, you're right. You got the info right now.
that's hype.
So
Yeah, so here I can just show you guys some people for people who are watching, right? These are the player card trait ones. Which trait is the most common amongst all LCG investigators? What is the only player card in the LCG that has no traits? Which is the class that doesn't have a card with the upgrade trait? That's a spicy one. That one I don't even have a guess on the top of my head. I need to think about that one. So were they like because I never actually done pub trivia, but I imagine it was a similar format, right? Where it was just like, did you have to like write it on like a whiteboard or something like that for your answers, or?
we had an answer sheet that was printed out.
Okay.
I have it still, by the way, just another little memento. And someone read out the questions, and gave a few minutes for us to write them down, asked for repeats. And I think the whole thing was done in about 30 to 45 minutes.
That's cool.
We turned in our answer sheets and it got scores and got the answers back afterwards. Unlike maybe more traditional pub trivia where there's like different rounds that
Yeah.
you stop and get a score afterwards, we just did the whole thing at once and then
Nice.
turned it in.
Fate Orange is only four non-rogue illicit cards. Name the only one of those that is not a firearm. All right. There are a total of 4 cards of the artist tray. One of them is Safina. Name one of the other 3. For a bonus point, name all 3. Oh, that's spicy too. Wow.
So yeah, again, you don't get to look these things up. It's
Yeah.
all coming off of your own memory.
Yeah.
You used to do this a little bit with, wasn't there like a Sporkle quiz that was going
Yeah,
around?
yeah. Tasty Toast made some flavor text Sporkle quizzes and like some encounter set Sporkle quizzes. There was also one of my favorite ones was name every card in the core set, which you're like, that's easy. And then you get down to like the last, like you're missing like 15 cards and you're like, there are no other cards in the core set. Like you are lying to me that this is a thing.
Yeah, that's where you start remembering about things like blinding light.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like the there's like even one I'm forgetting now, probably some stupid ass survivor card that I just don't know.
Yeah, there was Cunning Distraction on as the card of the day in Reddit the other day,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh yeah, that card, because now it's just been supplanted in my mind by Elaborate Distraction.
Yeah.
So so yeah, the other categories were there was a flavor text one. There's a
Oh, yeah. Yeah, flavor text.
yeah,
Yeah.
and some
And
of these
this
I
one's
just we
pretty
knew.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that Tasty toasted as well. A Sporkle quiz back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
There's Investigators of
Yeah.
Arkham. What is the name of
There's the
Daniela
lore,
Reyes'
yeah.
motorcycle? That's spicy.
Beard got it. It took us
That's
a while. We talked about it, and then it came to him.
nice.
It was great.
Yeah, that's a tough category for that one. Various encounter cards of campaign. Questions are as of the Drowned City. Oh my god, that the bonus point on that is insane. For a bonus point, how many encounter cards is that used in? If you get to get that off the dome, you might be a human calculator.
Yeah, Nick said that he wanted to make sure that no group got 100%. And
Yeah,
he
I
was
think
right.
that's fair. Yeah. What scenario in the card game has the fewest total enemy cards throughout the entire scenario? Interesting. So that's got to be a plot twist because there's one on the top of my mind, but there's got to be a twist to that one. It can't just be that obvious. It just can't be. This is really cool though.
Yeah.
This is the fun
This
stuff.
goes back to what I was saying about like you feel like you're in the right place because sometimes you go to pub trivia, it's like themed. It's like let's go to the office themed trivia night, and they're doing a business, right? They want to have people come and show up, and it's not about people who are living and breathing the office who are going to those, right? It's just your local people who want to go come get a drink, and maybe they've seen the office a few times so they can answer some questions. It might be fun. Those questions are not for people who have played the game a few times, right?
No, those are advanced questions. Like those are not easy.
Yeah,
And
that
the dream
question
is-
20.
Question
Oh, well,
20.
question 21 we could talk about another time because that one's kind of funny. But question 20 was like, oh my god.
Interesting. In the Innsmouth Conspiracy Campaign, which of the following location is not the reverse side of a tidal tunnel? Okay.
But these are like deep questions where you have to
They
think about,
are.
okay, I know what the scenarios are with the tidal tunnels. Which of these names do I recognize?
Yeah.
Would they have been a tidal tunnel in that scenario? Are they something else? Like that is, you don't get to sit around and look up the answers. You're just
No,
trying to
you
come
just
up
have
with
to
something
go.
off the top of your head. Right. It was a good time. Really good time.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, this is something that we'll definitely do. I'll definitely do a video about this in the future.
But now you need to forget about all the questions between now and then.
Yes. No, I'd rather make a show of it than nail it. So
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm much more. I'd rather leave this page. I'd rather be stupid than smart. That's kind of like my MO for content creation from the start to until I wither away and die. All right.
Fair enough. But Beard and I kind of said if we can't win this or at least get like second place, then we
Yeah.
got to turn in our
Yeah.
badges.
Yeah.
Like
No,
we
I
have a
like it because
reputation.
it's a that those questions are tough. Like, because Travis Byrne and I did a fun one with another content creator ages ago, and those questions were tough, and those questions were actually pretty easy in comparison to that. I've also, like with the bingo thing, I've been working on an Arkham quiz show format for a while too. So again, it kind of gives you like a little bit of like a little pep in your step to get back into it to try to see how it goes. All right, what's this? That's the bingo. We have this one here. Okay, so another thing that was given to you guys and has kind of made the rounds a little bit here was the parallel Lola haze. Now, we're not going to spend too much time on this because it actually hasn't like been officially released. When there's going to be an announcement article, I'm sure you and I will both cover it in greater detail on the channel. But because this was the Lola Haze, this is the Con in yellow, Lola Haze seemed like a really good little like gift to give out. And this actually, yeah, came from.
It's
Yeah,
weird, right? Because this was something that was given out by FFG. When did
yeah,
they start designing this? I have no idea. The con team had no idea this was coming,
yeah, yeah. Can we see the 2024? It looks like so.
right?
Yeah,
That seems strange. Like, I don't think this was announced as the con in yellow until late last year.
they
I don't
probably
know
had
when
it in
it.
their design. Like, so my guess, my hunch, and I can be completely out to lunch on this, is that they actually have a lot of parallel designs made, but they
Okay.
just like throw them out in a set schedule as designed by their the content managers for that kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Where it's not like the designers are like, you know what I want to do today? I want to release parallel like Leo Anderson, like that's what I want to do. Because like there's a hierarchy and a structure to FFG. It's a company, right? It's not just
Yeah.
like some guys designing the cards for fun, right? Like that's like it's a business. So there's going to be people who make that. And I remember there was one of the things that it was either in Duke's or Nick's AMA on Reddit. Which was just like we actually spend a lot of our times in meetings and writing notes about art direction for the cards, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, that was something that we forget too. But I'd wager that during downtime they get ideas for parallel investigators, they write them in, and then like they final like it's like when they started, they could just like pull them out, right? So
Do you remember? I think it must have been a year ago now. I don't know when exactly, but we had a little chat on your video, and you asked me something like a this or that thing, and it was, would you rather have a parallel Jenny or parallel Lola?
yeah.
Of course, neither of which had been released at that point, but are those the last two that have been released, or did we get parallel someone else in the meantime?
No, I think it was Jenny and Lola were the last two.
Isn't that
So
wild?
yeah, yeah.
Maybe they saw our video and were like, maybe what we need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also good to target the ones that aren't like, if they're not going inside of like a set cycle order like they seem to be in the past. It's kind of fun to target the ones that are a little bit. I don't want to say lacking because people crawl up my butt if I say that kind of thing, but like the ones that like could use a little bit extra juice can get like a little injection of some variety into them, because it's like a lot more interesting to make a parallel Lola than it is to make a parallel Mark Harrigan, right?
Yeah, because they did do all of the Dunwich ones now, right?
Yeah, but they did them not in order.
No,
Yeah.
Monterey Jack came out before
Yeah,
Jenny
he
did.
just
Yeah,
comes in. He's like, me. But that also shows, like, on the back end how there's a lot of stuff working, because Jenny came out in line with the comic that she was in, right? So
that's right.
there's a lot that we are not privy to, and it's probably better that way.
And it was exciting that way too. So they actually gave us, as part of the cool swag bag that I talked about before, the con team printed out a regular Lola with some alt art, and also with her mutation, so people can have the mutated version, the version, printed out for them. And then
Nice.
suddenly, a day or two later, one of the FFG people are there with a big cardboard box and like, here, have parallel Lola. And we're like, huh? Is this a joke?
Yeah,
But yeah, here it is.
that's really cool. Yeah, that is really neat. And like I said, we're not gonna check her out. We're not gonna read her because there's gonna be an actual official thing coming out for it. But just know she's really cool, and it's cool to see another parallel investigator, and that means that we might see more in the future as well, in addition to parallel Lola, which would be pretty sweet.
I think they've done a good job of supporting that idea ever since the first one. Even with I know Duke on that stream, the infamous "Oh No" stream, said we like maybe older investigators are going out of print, but we've revisited the ideas of investigators with our parallels, and they're going to continue to do that. It's a
Can
nice
we
source of content for us too.
can we also talk about like a little conspiracy theory going on here with Lily Chen with bangs? Can we talk about
Oh,
that?
you saw that stream, huh?
Yeah. Is there anything? Oh,
Yep.
actually, no. I didn't see the stream, but I saw the Lily Chen with bangs picture. Is there anything about that? Just Lily
I
Chen
don't
with
know.
bangs.
It's just that I think it was Liv, the uh, community manager now, was playing on that stream. So they had a stream on Thursday, which was, at the time we were all like, why are they doing this in the middle of Arkham Con? Everyone who's going to be watching this, not everyone, is going to be at the con. But they were trying to show off the new designer,
Yeah.
Reed. And well, the reason they did it is because Reed was there for Arkham Con, so it made sense. Like he doesn't live in Minnesota quite yet. So that's how they could get everyone in on stream. But yeah, they played Film Fatale, I believe, four-player with the four of them, Liv being the fourth, and she played Lily. And yeah, the icon they on when they do streams for FFG, there's a little like dashboard kind of thing for each investigator on the screen that says like how many clues they have and resources and that kind of stuff, and a little mini portrait of the investigator they're playing. And Lily Chen looked a little bit different in that little portrait.
Yeah, she had bangs. Like, what the
She had
hell?
bangs?
There's
I don't
something
know.
up. It's Lily got a new look. So, we're gonna tinfoil hat it a little bit.
Sure.
And I feel like that statement that so like Duke's very cheeky. I don't know if you guys have noticed that about Duke. Like there was like the hint that he gave. Like he's one of those things where it's like all of his hints are factually correct, but they're really off, right? Like there was the big thing about how the Mystics, they were in Drowned City, there was going to be 3 Mystic investigators, right? And everyone was like, yeah, but that doesn't make sense. What do you mean? And he's like, there's 3 Mystic investigators, and I mean investigator cards. And everyone was like, what the hell? That's crazy. So much that people were theorizing, oh, but there's only these investigators on the box. Is there like a hidden investigator that we haven't seen that's going to appear, right? So much so that I even made a video with one of my favorite thumbnails ever about my conspiracy theory, and we're going to see multi-class investigators. And I think that that's a very good way to get like hype going on for that kind of thing, like theory crafting and like people like saying their things. But every time he's given a hint, it's been 100% true. It's just like it's very cheeky in the way that he gives them. So when they even said in that video about revisiting old investigators, maybe we're going to see them with slightly different art, right? Like there's going to be changes to the character. So it's like Lily Chen, but she has bangs and she plays differently from the other one. And I feel like that's probably cheaper and better than having to like create new, maybe not better is the right word, but like easier on their end than having to create brand new characters, right?
They're gonna have new subtitles, and that one's gonna be "In Her Bangs Era."
Yes. Yeah. And like I also at the same time like because they know what they're doing, right? Like they like I know some people will be like, well, they use the wrong art. But then like why did that art exist in the first place? Why does Lily Shen have bangs? Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I did this to fast forward a little bit,
Yeah.
although I don't know how much time we have for this video. I did talk with Duke and Nick as an interview, and you can see it on my channel if you haven't already on Sunday. And I mentioned something kind of related, and I said something like, "What's it like to release cards that don't have support completely for that archetype in the box, but rather it's coming down the line?" And I mentioned the katana as this kind of strange addition to the precision archetype. And he flat out said two things. One, that he likes doing that as of sort of cheeky way of giving people some breadcrumbs to follow, and that he doesn't think the archetype is done. So even though in Drowned City we got nothing that really explains the katana, because it all just became Seeker stuff in terms of precision. But he said that could happen in the future. We love, as kind of DMs for Dungeons and Dragons and whatnot, to see people squirm, and wonder what's going on, even though they know the answer. So expect more of that kind of thing. And I think that's cool. I don't mind. I don't mind the designers having fun with us too, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have to worry too much about, like, I kind of asked in the business standpoint of, like, can the product stand alone in the sense when you don't have an entire archetype there, or cards that need other cards. I remember asking MJ about this some time ago, something a similar question, and she said sometimes we do this because it makes people excited to buy the next box.
Yep.
And the answer might sound very businessy there, but it's to get people more interested in the game and keep thinking about the game in between releases. So I'm all for it.
And it also allows them as designers to let players make discoveries and make them feel like they made it themselves. So, like, say, for example, you buy Feast of Hemlock Vale Investigator expansion, which does actually support, it has,
steady-handed.
It has steady-handed, right? And then you get Drowned City, and you can be like, ooh, artistic inspiration, right? Like, that also works, and you feel like a genius for putting this together. But really, the designers actually trapped you, and they were the ones who came up with this. And it's like small things like that where it lets players make discoveries and feel smart for doing that, right? If it's all in the same box and it all just works by itself, you're not actually allowing the players to express themselves from expansion to expansion. So it's a great perspective for them to have for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's tough moving from Legacy to a current environment, because you don't get to drop those breadcrumbs too far from when the rest of the cards release. But at the same time, over 3 cycles, if that's what they're going for, that's plenty.
Yeah, I think it's harder to do in the long term, but I think it actually makes it tighter, because they can be like, there's set A, which has like some pieces of an archetype, set B, which has the archetype, and set C, which has some pieces of that archetype, right? So then, like, it's one of those things where it's kind of like a whole picture where they can, like, swallow the whole thing up at once.
And the fact that this is in Guardian, Duke said, yeah, it's a little strange because it's basically a precision is a seeker thing. But, we might get some more cards that support this idea in other classes, or someone who's a seeker can take a katana and have it make more sense in the future. Who knows? Who knows, really?
Yeah, and also because classes kind of mix already. Like, people play Roland and Joe, and on the channel coming out in a month, by the time that this video is live, you might see a little Charlie Kane with a katana, right? And, like, these are all things that become possible because of how this game's deck building is both very restrictive but also very open, right, for that kind of thing. So nice. Well, was it fun to interview the designers?
Oh yeah. At first I was a bit nervous. I don't know how much you've talked with them directly.
Very little. I'm very much I've never really wanted to. I think it'd be super cool, but I like having that I always just say separation of church and state on the channel. But they seem like really cool, and I would love to break that rule. But it was really cool to see you interview them, and I could be like, wow, yay!
Well, here's the thing. In the context of, and I actually want to bring this up earlier, and now it reminds me to come back to it. When you're all in the room playing the game, yes, people recognize who I am. I have some kind of a reputation, I suppose, but and I think you would have a bigger one, but I think at the same time, people, we're not the kind of fanboy convention where there's that big separation between the famous people and the regular old people.
Yeah.
It's just not who I think this group of board gamers necessarily is. There's a little bit of it, of course. Again, you and I are on people's TV screens, and that's cool and weird sometimes. But the reality is once we're all in the room playing a game together, we're kind of on equal footing, and you
Yep.
spend hours playing scenarios with people, and it's no longer oh my God, I'm playing in front of someone who knows what they're doing and I don't. That's just not the case. It really isn't. Everyone who's there knows how to play the game, and it's a co-op game, so you're not embarrassing yourself.
No.
Everyone's there to support each other, really.
Yep.
So I haven't gotten a chance to play a game with Nick or Duke. I almost did with Nick, but we had too few people in the Machinations Across Time group that we were doing, so he had to move to another group. And then he immediately died. So I joked with him later that even if you had stayed in my group, I wouldn't have played with you very long at all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I think the reality is that they liked the game. They were there on the weekend playing the game too. They were spending some of their time that was, I'm sure, I mean, FFG wasn't supporting this con at all. This is completely fan sponsored. So it was the mere fact that so many FFG people were there, and Maxine was there too. And of course, she's not part of FFG anymore, so she was able to participate in the epic multiplayer that Beard created because there was no conflict of interest there now. But yeah, like we're all regular people, and we're there to have a good time. So even though I felt a little bit like I'm talking to people who are above me in some sense because they're the development team, after talking for a few minutes, they're just regular people and they want to talk with me too. They were totally interested in having that conversation and having fun doing it, because I think we're at the level, you and I especially, like we talk about this game, we think about this game, not as much as they do for work, the kind of way that they do for work. But they want to talk about these topics just as much as we do. So
yeah, they have fun designing Arkham, so they want to like talk about Arkham. I get that. That makes total sense.
And I think they've got a good relationship with the community, especially at the con, that they're not above it. I did feel a little bit that the marketing person there, Livia, this is the first time I've seen such a person involved in the con, and she did a good job of like, there was a dev panel, like an open dev panel. I think it was Friday night, where people could ask questions of all the designers. Waleed was there as well. Just that was also recorded. I think that's up somewhere now too. I think Head Librarian Chad has it on his channel. And she was there being like, don't answer that question.
Yeah.
Be very careful about how you answer these questions that, they can't say things. And that is, I had to run my questions by her too. So I'm glad that they have that, because you never know. The whole joke with, what's his name? Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man, who, if you interview him, he'll just spoil the hell out of whatever the next Marvel movie will be. So it was fun to have her as like the handler to makes it be a little more official. Like, this is serious, Yeah,
because there's stuff that like they're working on that they can't talk about, and like, not under threat of death, but pretty close. Like I've had to sign some contracts that they'll take your head.
When we get the cards to Swale, we have to sign things that say, maybe you're sitting on a card for a few months, but you can't talk about it. So
yeah, funnily enough, they actually not back in the day. That was a very recent thing. But it's good to make those changes, especially as they start to reach out to more people to do that. Yeah, and like going back to something we like it's like Duke's cheeky stuff. Like I remember when I did my video for 5 Drowned City predictions, and I predicted that Lucius was going to be the Seeker Rogue. And I had Lucius at that point. I knew he was going to be the Seeker Rogue. But I also knew it would have been too suspicious if I did not make him the Seeker, if I did not have that in the video. They'd be like, but that's like the most obvious prediction to have here. And I think that's one of those things where that's going back to the thing about like the cheeky hints that they give. I think that's you can tell that they also like doing this for the game. They like having fun with it, and I'm not going to say torturing, but torturing the community.
Do you think they tortured you by giving you Lucius to spoil, given your Kate?
I think background? No. I think they tortured me by giving me Kate. Because I also had Kate to spoil back in the day when I had the video about how I thought she was going to be the Seeker Rogue. So like, yeah, maybe it was just like the cherry on top of the sundae, but I thought that, I mean, like, I obviously know it wasn't done on purpose, because like it was hot. That was the community manager, I think, gave out the cards at the time, but maybe
Who
it
knows?
was, and if it was, that's the best trick I've ever seen
There was a
happen.
little note there. I mean,
Yeah,
when we got Charlie Kane right spoiled, that wasn't to you, but there was a little PBG
yeah, the
wink, wink
Charlie the
on the
Vampire
pen.
Hunter in the thing there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you know that they watch our stuff, or some at some point they do. You know,
yeah, they
there's
at
too
least
much of it.
they know of it. They know of
Yeah.
it. Another thing we should touch on is that there was an Iron Man for Return to Path, or was it Return to Path Carcosa or just Path
hmm
Carcosa?
No, it
Return.
was returned to. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good time. It was interesting. So we've done an Iron Man together. It's different playing four players and in person
Oh, that'd be long.
because it's long. We did start a little after 10 a.m. and we went basically to the buzzer 10 p.m. and playing all 8 scenarios. And I mean, this is the deck I play. This is where it ended up. And I haven't really played Norman that much, and I wanted to just like try out some things, but also make it pretty simple, you know,
Yeah.
because Iron Man requires you to sit there and play the deck over and over and not fail or falter really. That said, four player has some nice smoothing out for problems. I don't think I ran into any, but the funniest part, of course, here is that this is my third time playing the Great Work. And you and I joked about this before, like, well, what easier way to not have to think about your deck upgrades in
Then
between
yeah.
scenarios for Iron Man than to turn into a homunculus? So
But it looks like you didn't this time.
I didn't this time, right?
Yeah.
When is this video coming out?
End of the month.
End of the month. Okay. Well, so this is the third time playing it. I turned into the homunculus 2 to 3, and at least two of those times, anyways, that everyone knows about, the campaign ended with success. But
Yeah.
this time, I think in four-player, I was never in any danger. I think playing a mystic that has access to things like deny existence. You can see I was messing around with the encounter deck a bit too, with the Eye of Ghatanothwa and Foresight, which was really fun as Norman to be playing with the top deck
Of
revealed
both
of both
yours
my
and
deck
the
and the
Mythos
encounter
deck.
deck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Norman sees everything. That was fun. But even sometimes I was like taking damage. I wouldn't say on purpose, but it was just happened, and I was happy about it because then I could just use the Drain Essence to get it off of me. So I was never in any danger. But I think also as the cleaver, it's your job to not be in trouble, right?
Yep. Yep.
So it felt a little bit easier there.
You just kind of get
One
like
thing
a
I do
free
want to talk-
pass to just be like, nothing. This is not my problem. Like he's just like look at enemy. You draw. It's like what Travis does all the time. He like draws an enemy and then he looks at Bryn and I and he's like, are either of you going to solve this issue?
Yeah, exactly. And it wasn't even because I was running the Great Work. I know some people feel a little more pressure when they take those kinds of cards to feel like they're being more selfish, and I don't think that's what happened here. It's really just, don't you want something to do this turn? Because I can always just spam the Grim Memoir Investigate and get clues. So yeah, it was fine. But I will say that I did put myself into a little bit of extra danger for fun by running Deliverance because
Yep.
you just draw all the cards, and I wasn't really running anything to make this easier per se. I mean, I could see what the top card was. I think only once did I have the top card revealed and it was going to gain Surge, but all other times I was like, I guess I'm taking 5 cards and who cares what they are? We'll figure it out. But you've played this card.
I
Have you played
actually
this card? Or
I've not played this card, but I've seen it played once, and I actually it's a big sticking point for me because this was a card that was like the TSN turning point of the scenario where we were falling behind, and then a player brought it as a parallel Agnes to a game day, and they tanked all the cards, made it look easy, and then from that point on we were able to like get a foot up ahead of the game and actually like make it through and win, and it was like because of them playing this card. How did you feel this card performed when you played it during the Iron Man?
I mean, it was awesome. There's two things to say about it. One, I wasn't just tanking. I was drawing the cards, and sometimes that was drawing three enemies,
Yep.
which seems bad. But you know what's better than that? Having a four-player team that
Hmm.
is like, okay, we'll defeat the enemies. That's what we're here to do anyway. So what's the difference if it's engaged with you or not? Like
Yep.
we'll figure it out. And I have a few ways to do some evasion here. It wasn't like completely a problem, but I was sometimes just firing it off when I drew it. And I just said, what's the worst
It's
thing
on the
that could
top of your
happen?
deck, and you're like, by the way, this is
Yeah.
happening. Yeah. Yeah.
No, 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 absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely did that because the reason why is because of what you said. The benefit of no one drawing encounter cards next round and also no one else drawing encounter cards this round is huge. If you think about some of the sticking points in this campaign, especially Unspeakable Oath,
Yeah.
one of the biggest problems is getting out of the asylum and making sure there are no enemies that are in your way. There needs to be no ready enemies in the garden for you to resign. Well, what if you just don't draw any cards?
Yep.
Then you know that there won't be any ready enemies
Yep.
there. So you can plan your turn, especially in four player. It's the number of cards that you usually draw is a problem because you just don't know what's popping up. It
Yep.
could be a bunch of nothing, but it could just be a lot of enemies or some other combo thing. So I admit that four player has that potential for the encounter deck to be just unpredictable in
Hmm.
ways that you can usually say, it'll be okay in solo or two player, sometimes three. But when you just say we are not drawing any cards and you just can move to the last location
Hmm.
and you can park yourself there, having the action next round to resign, knowing that no one's drawing an enemy is great.
Yep. Yep.
Just solves the problem.
Yeah, it's very interesting from like, so you look at this in four player, you're drawing five to skip four essentially, right? So like that's how it is. In two player, you're drawing three to skip two because the number kind of gets worse from that, right? But then it's funny because I have got an Otho over here. It's kind of like the inverse, where it's actually like worse in four player because you're only seeing 25% of the cards that are going to be affecting the Mythos phase. But in two player, you get to see 50% of the cards. And this is like that weird sort of thing that's like the difference of how cards are evaluated from two to four player. But the thing that you even just talked about here, you draw three enemies, but it's no problem in four player, right? And the reason
Yeah.
for that is, on average, players are looking to get 1 to 3 actions ahead of the game each round. And in two players, that's 2 to 6. In four players, that's 4 to 12, right? Like, that's a crazy amount of tempo to gain on the game. That's just like also is one of those weird things from player scaling. And it's why this card is, I think, like, it's like Cosmic Revelation, just like really good in 3 or 4 player games.
I want to see if it's good in two player
I think
because
it's. I think it probably still is, right?
I think it still is because there's this whole idea that, yeah, there's the math problem that you just mentioned, but at the same time, if I could take double the encounter cards this time, and this isn't double, right, for two player, and maybe you can get through it. Maybe those
Yep.
encounter cards are things that are like an obscuring fog or a test that you just are going to pass or something that's easy enough to just dispatch. To know that in between whenever you get rid of those cards and 2 rounds from now, nothing new changes the board.
Yep.
That seems very good even at two player.
Yep. And it's one of those things where it's like it's only one extra card. And I think it's like one of those things you pair Deliverance with the Eye again, and it's like practically free because you're not surprised for the first card.
Exactly. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. So I was regularly playing this card once and then towards the end of the campaign twice per game. And it's no surprise that we got through Black Star's Rise extremely quickly. I've never played that scenario so fast. I do want to make one more comment about this deck and sort of our four-player group. There's been a commenter on my channel, over a long period of time. I actually kind of went back in because he made a comment about this deck when I posted it before I played Iron Man, saying, "Your main cleaver, this deck doesn't get enough clues." And you can look at it. There's no acceleration here. I mean, there's deduction, but there's no Rite of Seeking, clairvoyance. There's no divination or something. in a four-player game, and he said, with the right math, I think, that you need to get like 24 to 32 clues to advance. And that's exactly accounted at how many clues we needed in Black Star's Rise to advance. Granted, we didn't like go after the side objectives of like that 2VP on the other location, because who cares? At that point, we're just kind of trying to finish up on time. But 32 clues in four-player seems roughly okay, but the reality is I don't have to get them all.
Yeah, yeah. There's two
We had a
flex
Jack and
supports that
Fine.
are going to be able to grab stuff as well.
Exactly. And they can sometimes get quite a few. A Jacqueline Fine and at that point, a Carolyn, because our Carson got locked in the asylum.
Classic Carson.
Sorry.
He loves it in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but like they could get clues. So like getting the 32 threshold was fine. Like I didn't need to get them all by myself. And I think sometimes when we play lower player counts and it feels like you need to do everything yourself because the other decks can't support that because they're busy doing other things. Well, you can get there when we had plenty of time. Obviously, if you're a 5-book seeker, you can just do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you have the you're gonna have Eyes of Flame on this, right? So like, there's your tempo that you can get for your clues as well. To get
I know
that solved.
it's not there's nothing here, right? But I don't think I needed to get all 32 clues myself and still be way ahead of the game, especially because of things like Deliverance.
Yeah, and I think also the idea that just because this is something that I've been trying to tell people in my own videos more lately was tempo is found in a lot of different ways. Tempo is not necessarily running divination or clairvoyance in a deck like this. Tempo is having abilities to save on movement, right? Like an ability, I imagine I would probably have, yeah, you have the Wings of Night on this guy, right? This is all tempo that is kind of just replacing the clue gain tempo. You can look at clue gain tempo and be like, yes, that's an easy way for me to see that this gets more clues. But the reality is that shortcut is going to be 2 more damage on an enemy. It's going to be 1 additional clue, right? Wings of Night is going to be an additional clue. The things that lets you get the clues is going to be additional clue, right? Like those are all different ways to find tempo, and you just have to find the best tempo for your deck. It's not a paint by numbers thing all the time, right?
And I think there's an argument to be, okay, literally, was this going to be faster with 1 copy of Rite of Seeking level 4? Like maybe, but also I didn't need to do that because other people got to our objective too. So I was able to run other things to keep, to keep us winning the game. And that's all you kind of need at the end of the day.
Yep. Yeah, and then even like the sort of like true understanding, where you have 1 of those. I imagine you probably had 2 at the start. Yeah, I could.
Yeah, too.
Yeah. And then like the Grim Memoir is also giving you card draw, which will allow you to cycle through your deck to find your short. Yeah, it's one of those things where like just because it's not obvious where the tempo is from looking at it, the tempo is always just like there. Like that's the goal for your deck, find tempo, and that can change a lot depending on a lot of things.
It's also resilient of a deck, right? I think that's important in an Iron Man, and maybe in most cases, but this is a deck that turn 1 can start doing things and keeps that level of what it can do throughout. And it doesn't have to spike up like some Mystic decks do. Like you spend some time setting up and then you then do a bunch at the end of the scenario. And that's very good too, but that wasn't this deck. I don't have to play that deck every time.
Yep, this is just like this is very similar to a Justin deck where you are basic investigating a lot to just like outgrind the game. If you don't need to spend resources to do it, in theory, you'll win. I have a question for you. Did you go with Vengeful Hound with more confidence because you knew this was going to be 4 players?
Yeah, there was 2 reasons. One, I thought it might be cool to try the split the angle thing when I could see the top card of the deck.
Yep.
I did it once, and I discarded the top card of the deck because it was like a 6 agility test. And I was like, I was always lead investigator, by the way. That kind of should be obvious given the I have got to know that I should be making decisions based on what I'm drawing. Anyway, I discarded the top card, and then the next card was literally the same card again. So I was just like, well, okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Split the Angle.
Oh, by the way, hidden cards are very funny when you can see the top card.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah.
So that was reason one, and then reason two was like Vengeful Hound I could kill with the Drain Essence. I didn't want to spend the 2 actions on the Harbinger, the hand guy.
Yeah.
I just felt like it could pop up at the wrong time, and I'd rather just draw through. I could also evade this guy with Mind Over Matter, and he doesn't have Hunter, so you just leave him.
Yeah. Yeah, because only when he's engaged with you. Yeah, for sure. So you had a Carolyn. We're actually going to wrap up this video. We just hit the hour mark just right now.
Sure.
But I have one last question for this Iron Man. You guys won, right?
I have what? Yeah,
You guys
won.
won. Nice. And then the other one is you had a Carolyn, who was previously a Carson, a Jacqueline. Who was your fighter?
York.
Nice.
It was pretty smooth. The York, I will say, probably the most new player I've played with in quite some time. Not a bad player by any means, but also just kind of more new to the game and had never played Carcosa, period.
Okay. Man, that's a tough environment to play Carcosa in. It's like, can we read the flavor? Absolutely not. We gotta go.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but at the same time, his deck was pretty simple. I think we had talked before, like he wanted to play either Mark or Yorick, and I was pretty hard on it should be Yorick. I think he's just much more resilient in this campaign, and I think he's hard to screw up in general.
Yeah.
As good as Mark is, and he's very, very good, I didn't want him to be in the middle of the asylum taking horror for attacking those enemies that keep popping up, the haunted patients or whatever they're called. So if you can put the horror on a teddy bear and just recur the teddy bear, like that's already really good.
Yes, yeah, 100%. Sweet. All right.
But it worked out.
That was a very fun thing, and I felt like I was there. I felt like I got to experience all the ins and outs from that. So thank you for sharing all those stories with me, Daniel. And I mean, I'm hoping I can go to the one next year, but we'll have to see how things are then. But I am, like I said, Mike and I, we want to do Arkham Up. It's like a perfect theme. Arkham Up North. We can do with Aqua theming, like it's meant to be. Channel up a Pacific Northwest campaign. That's all I kind of want to see from them do. I want some evergreen trees and some snow. It feels like I'm home. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed this and you guys enjoyed another episode of the Arkham Podcast. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by liking, commenting, and subscribing, or if you want to go above and beyond, you can join all the awesome names that we have here. Starting from just $3 a month American, you can support the channel on our lowest tier, all the way up to the Wizards of the Order and the Knights of the Inner Circle, where you get priority for patron game days. So if you like the idea of playing Arkham with other people, I do one patron game day a month, and it's always a great time. In the meantime, thanks for watching, have a good one, and as always, a JJ's.